All right, we are here with Brantley Mays, Parkwood Inspection Company.
Yeah, Parkwood Property Inspections.
Parkwood Property Inspections. Let me mess it up for you. So we're here with the owner of Parkwood, and we're going to talk a little bit about home inspections, how you got started, what your base was before inspections. We're going to kind of go over a few things. Maybe some homeowners will want to listen up on this to see if they're putting their property on the market for sale. They might want to get some pointers. Is kind of what we're getting from you today. So how did you, where did you start as far as military? Let's start with that.
So I was in the Navy for 7 years. You know, I'm from High Point, but I joined the Navy, and I was deployed overseas and just lived in Japan, Hawaii, went to the Middle East, all over Asia, just, you know, working on jet engines, actually. So nothing to do with construction. I was a jet engine mechanic.
Awesome.
So
Did not know that.
P3s, things like that.
Okay. My dad was a mechanic on airplanes back in the day, Vietnam time, so in the Air Force. So that's very cool, very cool. How long was you in the military?
So 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah, so 2000 to 2007.
Okay.
Or, yeah.
Most of your work on ships, or were you on land mostly?
So the first 3 years in Asia, I was on ships, and then P3s, that's a big aircraft, so it was squadron based. So we would take the squadron to wherever we were at, you know.
What was your favorite country or continent?
My favorite would probably be Australia. Australia's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I've been there.
Yeah. And they love our accent, you know.
Nice.
Young and single, that's great.
We've barely got out of Davidson, I guess, Randolph County. But Australia is definitely on the list, and I hear a lot of people love Japan too. Never been there, but
yeah, the food's really good. I was really disappointed that it wasn't all like a Japanese steakhouse. There's actually nothing like that.
that's exactly what I would assume would be there if I went. So
Yeah,
it's good to know.
There's one in Okinawa, but it's mainly for the Americans. So but it's really good food. But there's no Japanese steakhouses.
No Japanese.
I guess we made that up over here.
Weird rituals over there, like you got to take your shoes off when you go in places. And
oh yeah, they do a lot of that, or a lot of sitting on the floor, which is really hard for some of us. I'm not very flexible. I didn't do a lot of that.
Interesting. So 7 years, and what did you take from being in the military as far as, you know, like what was your favorite and what was your worst memories of the military?
I would say my favorite overall was just all my friends and the travel. Like that was great.
Traveling. I've always heard that, yeah.
And really the worst, you know, was probably the time at sea. Like even the time in like Iraq and Qatar and places like that where it's hot, maybe a little more dangerous, is not as bad as waking up every day. They call it haze gray underway, where you just wake up and do the same thing every single day, and you're in a big middle floating ship, and it's like it'll never end. It's like Groundhog Day. So you can have fun, but it's one day seems like about 10. So
the food and water are probably terrible on the boat too.
So when they bring the food on in boxes, it says for military and prison use only. Like it's stamped on the side of all
No
the
way.
box. Yeah.
One and the same.
Yeah.
You're trapped.
You learn how to church it up with hot sauce and different things. Like you keep stuff in your locker so you can make it a little bit better.
Nice.
We're learning things we didn't know we were learning.
I know you're married now, but were you married when you were in the service or no?
No, well, I got married right before I left for Iraq. So that was back in, I don't know, 2005? Or no, 2006, because we just had our 20-year anniversary.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. So been married 20 years.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. Didn't know that either. Awesome.
Yeah, it does. It's real good. We've stayed together and we still get along.
That's great.
Good.
Yeah,
That's good.
It's very, very hard. It's great. It's awesome. What about what made you from military? You know, I know you didn't. Well, you might have started Parkwood right after. I don't know that. When did you start Parkwood first? And then,
I said Parkwood was like 2015, 2016. So I used my GI Bill and I got my degree in construction management from A&T in Greensboro. So basically, I would just paint and do little construction projects during the day and go to school all night. Up until I couldn't do that anymore, and I had to switch to day classes when I went to A&T because I started at G-Tech. And when it got to that point, it was just time to, you know, just buckle down and finish real quick. And that was right at, I want to say it was around like 2011, 2012, when the economy was really bad.
Yeah.
So I got really lucky. I went on the ENR Top 100 and applied to every single company I could find. And I got hired on in Kansas. And that company took me to Texas, Romania, Africa, kind of all over the world, working on big multi-billion-dollar projects like wastewater, missile defense, you know, power generation, power distribution. Did that for a little while, and then just decided I didn't like working for other people anymore. I was kind of done with it. The military, like it was kind of enough. It was time to do something else.
yeah. So then you started Parkwood, and Where did you base it out of? I guess to start, and it's the same place now. Is this where you live, or how did you start as far as location wise?
Yeah, so we, me and my wife, both our families are from High Point. So we came back. We knew we were starting the business, weren't really sure what it was going to be named. Bought a house on Parkwood Circle.
We was all wondering where it came from. Okay, that's pretty cool.
And we're like, well, I didn't want it to be named after me, right? Because then I figured every time somebody's like, I need to talk to him. So I was like, no, let's name it because for
that
you,
was a great idea.
well, for name recognition, you want like people to come to you to solve their house problems. But for me, it's like if I ever wanted to have more than one inspector, there was like, they'd be like, oh no, I want Mays to do it. So if it's Parkwood,
yeah,
it's no one from the ask for
I
it.
remember, I graduated from Greensboro College around that 2012 time, and the job market was terrible. It's one of the reasons I got into real estate. I got in around 2015. And you used to do the majority of the inspections. And I know, how many inspectors do you have now?
I think there's 4 of us all together.
Yeah. I know we
Don't forget anybody.
I won't name them, so that way I'll be like, oh, I wasn't including myself.
I got you.
Still like to get out in the field and do a couple here and there.
Yeah, I've done a few, especially recently. I've done a few, but mainly I try and leave those for the guys.
Yeah,
I try not to hog it. I've also got the other company that I started, the foundation
Yeah,
repair company.
done well.
So I spend a lot of time in there.
Yeah, we need to plug that too.
Yeah. So basically, the reason that came around is because people would ask me, okay, so you found these problems. Who should I
can fix
call?
it? Yeah.
I'll be like, well, you can call these people.
And here you are licensed. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You're like, well, I probably could have done it if I had time.
Well, yeah, and you see the prices people are paying. And I'll be like, well, you can only believe about half of what they tell you because, it's a franchise. They're going to try and sell you everything under the sun. Tell me what they recommend and what the prices are. Maybe I'll tell you what you should and shouldn't do. And I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
We can do this for half the price and still make money and be honest.
Wow.
And not rob little old ladies, stuff like that.
Wow.
So it just kind of took off. I mean, it's become pretty big. We've got about, I don't know, at least 3 or 4 trucks on the road, 2 or 3 trailers, 10 guys running around working in people's houses all the time now. So it's still, we always disclose if somebody's like, hey, they had a Parkwood inspection. I'll be like, I don't inspect something and then go say, I'm going to fix it. But we'll just tell them, hey, there is a relationship here. But still, I don't sell people things they don't need, so it doesn't matter. That's never going to come up.
Right.
Yeah.
And Stratton, you've used.
Yeah, I've used
financial-
both companies
Yeah.
and I had great experience with both of them. And,
That's good.
every home inspection, whether it's with you guys or somebody else, if it's got a crawl space, it's going to have a crawl space issue.
It's got a cross.
And if it's got a basement, it's
Moisture,
probably going to have a
something.
basement issue. So, anywhere that's not conditioned that has moisture or potential for moisture, you can have mold growth or fungal growth, as they often refer to it as. So, sometimes that's a big deal and sometimes it's not, right?
Exactly.
And
I mean, if you've got a real problem, you've got a real problem. But a lot of times all you need is some black plastic and a dehumidifier about take care of it.
right.
That may not necessarily meet code, but, you don't have to rebuild everybody's whole situation. Sometimes people just need a little bit of help. And sometimes people need a lot of help. And you shouldn't exclude people with limited financial resources from getting what they need because, oh, no, you got to have the whole thing.
Right.
You call the franchise company, it's like, you've got to have this. This is the only way to do it. And it's $30,000.
Mm-hmm.
Well, normally that should be about like 18 at the most for what they're recommending. And then a lot of times they just need about 4 or 5's worth, it's just, so that's the way I look at it. Just give people what they need, nothing they don't.
Well, it's been a great resource for us. I know that, or for me especially. So it's also good to have kind of a one-stop shop, not just for that, but for all the other services. I know, like termite inspections and radon and all that sort of stuff. Not every buyer needs everything, but those are ones we order a lot, so.
And I appreciate it. I mean, I remember when I first got started in Parkwood, and that's all I was doing. I mean, I've been doing business with you guys for about a decade. It's like this is a big part of me first getting started. It's where a lot of my business is coming from. There's probably 2 or 3 firms sending me business, and that's it.
Oh, wow.
And when you first get started, you're like, oh no. When you first start something like this, you hope nobody knows how inexperienced you are. It doesn't matter what your resume is.
Sure.
It's like, oh Lord, and you're trying to overdo everything to like compensate for like somebody finding out you've only done 50 or 100 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then
I was the same way. My first one, you may not remember your first one, Stratton, but my first house that I sold for somebody else was on Johnsontown Road. And I was like doing everything. Like I did so many things that I shouldn't even have to do. I was like, they don't know. They know that I'm a brand new, but they use me. So do you remember your first ever or is it too far?
Absolutely.
Do you really? Okay.
Yep. It was for Amanda Faribault. So she's moved to the beach, but she used to be here with Cole Banker or somebody like that. She had switched a couple, but I was going around to open houses handing out cups, and she answered the door. I gave her a cup, and I mean, I must have drug out like 3 big Tupperwares full of tools and just running all around this house, doing everything. The lady was so impressed because I was just like rolling out the red carpet. It was just like a tiny little house off Ferndale and High Point.
Yeah.
And I told her 2 or 3 years later, or maybe a little longer than that was my first one.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome that you remember it straight. You remember your first house that you sold for somebody else?
I'm trying to think what my first one is. I don't remember a lot, so I don't know for sure. But
you get past 10 years and it's just like, you know what I mean?
I have to go back and look.
Yeah, because you're past 10.
I remember my first like legit listing appointment.
Oh, dude.
We did comps, and I wasn't with you at the time. But did comps, went over there. I knew them personally. They were friends of mine. And we were about $20,000 lower than what they wanted to sell it for. And the guy that I was with was like, no, we're not going to take the listing. It's just, we're not going to do it. It's a waste of time. And so they said, well, we don't want you to list it anyway. We're going to do it for sub-owner. So that was my first listing appointment. So it went really well, so...
Those are absolutely the biggest nightmares for us is for sale by owner. When there's no realtor involved, nobody knows what they're doing. Yep. No one knows what to expect. They're all doing stupid stuff, and normally somebody's on the really bad end of the deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I would say, the for sale by owners on our end too, because they've already tried to market it. They already think they know, it's worth, $350,000. You start looking at comparables, you're like, no, it's not even close, But we've already had it for sale. We got, we had some interest, You get that a lot. So, what if you had, this is kind of not a trick question, but if you had 5 or 10 minutes in a house that was a first time buyer, what would be the first things that you walk to kind of check out?
So the big things for me are always roof, HVAC, plumbing, just anything in electrical. Just basically like the meat of the house. Structural, of course.
Right.
But I mean, in about 10 minutes, I can walk around the house and tell you about what shape it's in. Mm-hmm. But in that amount of time, I'm not going to be able to tell you every little thing. That's why the home inspection takes an hour, 2 hours, or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's generally what I'm looking for. How old is the HVAC? How bad does the roof look? Does it look like the foundation walls are bowing in? And is it got a Zinsco electrical panel or a stab lock, one of these electrical panels that's going to be, $2,000 to replace, something like that. And is there anything living in the house that's not supposed to be living in there? Sometimes you get little raccoons will come make themselves a little hammock inside of the air return or something like that. Or
I thought that was just my rentals that happened. Is that everybody's?
It might have been one of yours, but I can't. Somebody sent me to one down on Green Street that somebody was buying. I mean, this is long, long time ago, and there was a big pile of trash.
Uh-oh.
So I went over and I was like, what's up with this pile of trash? It's weird. It's not a good area. And there's like a purple little girl's bike in front of the house, but just by itself.
This was one that I sent Brantley to. The best deals. No, I'm just picking. I texted him yesterday. I said, I send you the best deals.
Only the best for Brantley.
So I kind of I think I see something move. So I kick the trash pile and like a whole human body moves over in one of these heat blankets. And I'm like, what is going on?
No way.
So I go outside, and I don't want to just walk away because at this point I'm doing like 1 or 2 inspections a week. You know what I mean? I'm not like rolling by any means. I need every bit of money I can get.
Yeah,
sure.
So I go outside and I call the listing agent, and off the sign I'm like, "Hey, what's going on, man?" He's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. That's the guy who flipped the house's brother or cousin or something. He doesn't.
You have got to be.
He'll be fine. He's just going to sleep there in that trash pile." I was like, "What?" So for the whole rest of the inspection, I just walked around and narrated it. I just narrated everything I did. I'm like, I'm going into this room now. Now I'm looking in the attic because I don't know if this guy's going to shoot me or what, Because,
oh, my gosh.
I mean, he's sleeping in a trash pile, so he probably pawned his gun a long time ago. But, you never know. He might have a knife.
That money's long gone. Yeah.
I was going to ask you, that's got to be the craziest, right? Is that the craziest inspection?
That is definitely one of the worst. Another one was a lady demanded that I come in on a Saturday. Mm-hmm. I'm like, this is kind of weird. I mean, this is just a normal house, whatever. And I was like, okay, well, I'll come do it on a Saturday. And I noticed I kept turning I think it was the broiler on in the oven. And, I'll walk away, do something, come back. And then the oven would be on, but not the broiler. And she's sitting in the kitchen. And the whole time, turns out the whole reason she wanted me to come there is she didn't want me to realize that the top heating element didn't work in the oven. So she was going and switching stuff off in the oven. And I wrote it down. And then That day, after I sent the report out, she called and made a complaint to her agent that the oven heating element no longer works since I was using her oven. This is weird. You know, it's like I was at $30 and you just pull it out and put it in.
Yeah.
She made me come in on a Saturday so she could mess with me over that. I would just brought her a heating element. I just stopped at Lowe's and got her one.
Did you really? Wow. That's pretty crazy there. Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff that we've seen, I'm sure that you've seen worse. You know, before because you're under houses, you're in attics, and you ever got anything claustrophobic issues with you and your inspectors on tight crawl spaces? Is that an issue? Or
I've definitely told people that everybody has to be out of the house so that, because I don't want floor joists pressing in on me.
Oh.
So where now I'd be like, hey, that's probably just inaccessible, you know, or like, you know, take like a pole and stick a phone on it. But, you know, when you first get started, you're like, well, I'm going to crawl every inch of this thing, even though it doesn't matter. Like there's nothing ever there to be seen, but I don't care. I'm going to get there so no one can say I wasn't there.
A lot of these older houses, though, you know, I mean, a lot of the newer ones, they have engineered trusses and stuff, but a lot of the older ones, especially with low pitch roofs and really tight crawl spaces.
Really tight.
I mean, we see them all the time where they've got either broken floor joist or they've rotted out because they're so tight to the ground, you know, and they're hard to get in. It's hard to inspect a house like that, you know. I'm sure it's got to be. So,
yeah, and a lot of times we just tell them, like, you know, lately with the foundation repair stuff, we'll say, okay, we're ripping out the whole floor system. We just go up there, rip out the whole floor, rebuild the floor, and put plastic down and encapsulate it, and then put it back together, and just say, hey, that's what it's going to be. Because
that's what it needs. Yeah.
You're not going to be able to do anything from underneath unless you've got, like, you know, I mean, what, Smurfs? Like, who's going to get down there and work on that? Nobody.
That was my next question: is who in the world are you getting these tight crawl spaces?
We had a plumbing. I haven't told you this, but this is funny. I had a plumbing repair yesterday on a condo, and there's a little scuttle hole up underneath the shower on the second level. You could access it from the main level. And one of the plumbers we use went over there yesterday, and he said, we're the fat crew. He said, we can't get in there. He said, I got to call the skinny crew to come over here. I said, were they going to come today? And he said, I don't know if they will get here today or not. He said, but neither of us can get in there. And it's a set of townhomes that were built in High Point, probably in the 60s or 70s. But a lot of tight spots.
I mean, I don't see how you get into some of the spots. Even in some of my rentals, I don't really mess with some of the spots that I can't get into. Hopefully nothing goes bad in that section because it's really hard to get to, you know. I mean, what's your favorite as far as slab crawl? I mean, you got less to look at in a slab house, or?
There's still a lot to look at, but a slab townhome is like my favorite thing. Yeah. Because the HOA is responsible for just about everything on the outside.
Outside, so you're looking at the inside stuff.
Oh, yeah. You know what it's going to be. You don't have to get in the dirt.
Yeah.
Or, you know, a basement. Crawl space is always the worst. No, you know, like all the inspectors you talk to, they'll be like, they're driving around, they're looking in the neighborhood, and it's all slabs, and they get all excited, and they pull up on it, and theirs is a crawl space. It's like, oh, man.
Well, we have a lot of buyers, you know, and slabs used not to be as popular of a construction style. Right. And, you know, their parents or different people said, don't buy a slab house, you know. And the majority of the new construction now is slabs. Yeah, and it eliminates a lot of potential issues with mold, floor joist, you know, I mean, plumbing. Yeah. Hopefully you don't have a problem there, but a lot of plumbing's in the second level. You know, it's not in the first. So I think it eliminates a lot of issues. We walk around with buyers on the exterior. We see, especially on brick veneer, sometimes some minor cracking. Sometimes it's some big stair step cracking. Sometimes it's got some gaps. When is that an issue, you think?
So generally speaking, when you can see movement in the floor on a slab, so that's when it's kind of a little bit worse. If you just see some cracks straight up and down, that's because of expansion. That's normally not that big of an issue. You just get the water away, maybe seal up the cracks. You know, dig all the way down to the footer and seal it up so you're not getting water in there. As long as you're keeping the downspouts piped away, that's the number one thing. Like if you're keeping the water away from the house, you keep it like Peppa Pig's house. Do you know Peppa Pig? little pig lives on a hill. Yeah, exactly. It lives on a little cartoon hill, top of the hill. So everything's running away. Downspouts are going away. You're in good shape.
I got you. That's good. That's a good way to look at it. You know, as far as, you know, tell people what they're trying to get their house to do as far as work. Because water, I mean, you might disagree, but is water the kind of the biggest thing on a house? You know, that messes up a lot of stuff. I mean, from one of my experiences,
you burn it down, but
yeah.
You got somebody that does that. Just with their number.
We may have.
Me and Nathan have some properties.
Let's talk about you know, if you've got, you know, like a repair. you said that you've got this other company. First off, before we go any further, how do they get in contact you with this the repair end? Let's throw that number out there and stuff.
Yes.
We'll put it on the screen as well, and
Tag it in there somewhere.
website and all that.
Yeah, so Dunwell Structural Repairs, 336-867-0298. And we've also got a website, and all that, so you can just look us up online. But yeah, we don't do a whole lot of marketing. We don't have to, because a lot of the existing.
To be honest with you, I
relationships-
haven't seen anything. That's why I was like, oh, this is interesting. It's bigger than I thought,
Yeah, I mean, there's some email stuff that goes out, but it's just a lot of it's just word of mouth.
Yeah.
People just say, "Oh yeah, well, you did a good job," and I think we got 5 stars on Google.
That's good. The Google
I
reviews.
know you've invested a lot in your real estate partnerships as well.
Yeah.
I know you've sponsored a lot of things for the association, and of course you're coming in doing this, and I know you've done this type of things with other agents as well. But and we're in front of buyers and sellers all the time, so that's probably, I would say, probably where most of your stuff comes from.
Oh yeah.
More or less, but. So it's always good to have those relationships. I know we appreciate it. So,
oh yeah. I mean, I probably irritate your help more than anybody else in here, because I'm always got some crazy house that somebody can't get into or something. I know it's irritating, but y'all always
we need
do
people to have problems so we can help them solve them.
Yeah.
Or go identify them and solve them.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, identify them for sure, because I think first time buyer definitely needs to know that. What's your opinion on a brand new house? Let's just say it's brand new construction, and I've got my opinion. Stratton's probably got his opinion, but what's your opinion on a brand new construction house?
I think you should definitely do an inspection, and if you don't do one, you need to do one at about 10 or 11 months so you can get that warranty information. We get a lot of those. So we have a lot of people that call us right before the warranty is going to be up there. Look, I bought this from the builder, but there's been a lot of issues. Yeah. So before my time's up, I want you to come in and take a look at it.
Yeah.
Because, I went to a custom home out in Oak Ridge once, and a brand new build, and it was missing a square of shingles. There's just on the back. It's like the guys went to lunch and they never came back, and they were done. There wasn't like a roofing truck coming back later. Yeah. So, they miss things.
We do sell some new construction, a fair amount of it, and sometimes it's, move-in ready. It's already past drywall, but sometimes it's not. And you guys do the pre-drywall framing inspections. I know I think I've done one with you before. And or one of your guys out in Lexington. So, I thought that was very beneficial. You get a chance to look at everything before insulation goes in, before drywall goes up. You get to look at your plumbing, rough end, electrical, all that stuff. And, you'll have, like on that one, I think they identified some seal plate bolts that were loose and some framing gaps that were,
That's
maybe
important.
22 on center instead of 16.
Instead of 16.
Or 24, But, so I think that's beneficial to do that, and you do the pre-drywall, and then you can come back and do a final. Yeah, I guess after the CO.
No, absolutely. It definitely helps. People, the city does come look at stuff. So if you only have enough money for one, they're only going to check so much, and it just depends on the municipality and who's out there. You get some guys that are just going to go through everything and make sure everything's right, and some guys that are come out there and check a box.
Yeah,
it's like anything else.
And those guys are overloaded. I had one in Davidson County the day before, it was Thursday. They were taking the Friday off for the 4th. And he said, I've got 30-some inspections to do today. I just need to get there and get it done. I said, okay. So, those guys are overworked probably too.
They probably
so it's always good to have a third party come back and check.
Yeah. There's not 30 hours in the day. And if you wanted to do a good job.
They're not going to have enough time. I think my last, this is a while back too, several years, but the bigger builder, we won't say their name, so we won't keep out of lawsuits, but bigger builder that's pretty close, 2 in a row they built that my buyer goes in, chooses not to get an inspection. And then that night of closing, we closed the house, they were moving in, their kids went upstairs to take a bath, ran a full pretty much bathtub, and it all came through the living room ceiling.
Oh, yeah.
Because they never glued, the drain for the tub. So it's like, I don't know if anybody ran any water in that thing, or it would have been found, So that's why I was like, inspection, even on a brand new house, don't let them talk you out of it, So what? Let's talk about a little bit about maintenance and stuff. Even though your inspection company and your repairs and stuff, what would you suggest maintenance wise? Somebody looking at, for instance, HVAC or crawl space, and what's your opinion on this too? Second part, we see it a lot of times that owners have had these houses for 10, 20, even 30 years, and they don't even know what's in their crawl space.
Oh,
Have you noticed that? Like,
Yeah.
that's a real thing.
Yeah, that's when we know we're about to sell a lot of work. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, some of the big, nice ones too. It'd be $30,000. Like, oh, you've got to replace half the floor in, a 4,000 square foot house. And it's like, sorry,
Yeah.
you should have sent somebody down there. So I would say, unless you know what you're looking at, your best bet would be to be on a HVAC service with a company that comes out, does everything. You might have to change the filters a little bit more, but have them coming out at least quarterly or biannually, and looking at everything for you, checking the levels, all that, because then you're on their list, and so if something goes wrong,
Right.
they're going to get right to you.
Yeah.
If you're on a termite plan, I get somebody, maybe not a big franchise, but like maybe a local guy, smaller guy who's going to look at more stuff and be honest with you, not trying to sell you something every time they come out. Having somebody go in the crawl space and look around. We do like yearly maintenance inspections if people want them, and people can call a home inspector for that too. But if you're realistically probably not going to pay for a home inspection every year. But if you got somebody touching every part of your house and looking at things, it's going to help. You're supposed to flush your water heater every year. I mean, no one does that.
No,
Right?
definitely don't do that.
What are you talking about? I do it all the time. No, I don't.
Back to crawl spaces, I guess, and maybe HVAC. I mean, we see a lot of clogged condensation lines, filters that are dirty, outside units that are dirty, and they're probably never been cleaned. But we see it on all the inspection reports, not just yours, but we'll have older HVAC systems that are running and working, but, they'll know end of life or near the end of life. And that's just a gauge on how old they are, really, right?
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, I mean, so the one, I mean, I've got one in a house that we own from 1988.
Yep.
That still runs, still runs, and it's HVAC. I mean, like it's a compressor, it's not a heat pump, so that's probably part of the reason it's running so long. But it's just we have to make that comment because people are going to be mad. No one knows how old, like heat pump around 15 years, 12, 15 years, those things start to die. Sometimes earlier, and sometimes a lot longer.
Yep.
But if we don't tell the people that, they're going to be really angry when it needs to be replaced. Oh, you didn't tell me it was old. It's like, well, I mean, I told you what year it was from.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of things that scare some of the buyers. But it's on, like Stratton said, it's on every inspection. It's not just y'all's. But if one's 12 years old, you pretty much have to write that it's pretty much out of its life, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, but you've seen heat pumps, like you said, old as probably 90s, I'm sure, a lot that's still kicking, right?
Well, what I tell people is, and this is not obviously feasible for everyone, but I say, you need to just, when you start out with a house, I would want to have $5,000 in an account that I don't touch.
Yep.
And then I
That's a
would
good
guess the age on everything. So like, say if I've got 10 years on a roof and a roof's going to be, $10,000, I'm saving $1,000 a year into that account. HVAC's going to be, $8,000 and it's got 8 years. I'm saving $1,000 a year in that account. So when that stuff does pop up, like it's just ready, just like you do for commercial real estate.
Right.
Yep. And that's what I tell my buyers. I know Nathan does too. And we go through these reports, and that's where we come in and say, hey, this unit's working, but it is 12 years old. It may last a year. It may last 6 months. It may last 5 years. But it's not going to last probably another 10. So you need to plan on, as it breaks down, either repairing it or replacing it. Because a lot of those older units that have outdated refrigerant, it can either not be gotten or it's more expensive. But our unit's that old too. We got an old R22 unit. That thing's a workhorse, man. I just gas it up once a year and it rolls. It's probably been running all day today. So
yeah, the house that I came out of, I think in 16, it's still the original. Well, not the original. It's like 94, I think. I think it was 90, mid 90s. And I thought about replacing it. I've got a little bit of money saved, but I was like, it probably cools better than some of the newer ones, So
I know they're
Hold
not
on
as
to it
efficient,
as long as you can.
but
I'm just gonna let it roll. Water heater's about the same. I mean, I have flushed that one, not every year, but I have flushed that one. But it's one of those that's probably 93 or 4, and it's got rust, on the top and the bottom. It looks horrible.
Yep.
But it's still, still producing. It's not leaking. Fiberglass tank. So, what is for a buyer listening or watching? What have you stopped as far as somebody making a big mistake? What is your biggest fines? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, we can definitely run into, sometimes the house just needs to be torn down. And you
Really?
can't really say that, but you have to really, because
Yeah. How do you put that in a paragraph in the summary?
yeah, we make sure we talk to those people. If they don't show up to the inspection, there's got to be a phone call. Yeah. Be like, do you have enough money to fix all these things? Because that's inevitably what they ask us. It's like, well, would you buy it? I was like, well, if I had enough money to fix all the things that need to be fixed, yeah. And they'll say, well, how much is this going to be? I was like, well, you're probably looking at $50,000 there, $20,000 there, and this is a $100,000 house. So how far you want to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, it adds up quick.
Yeah,
It does. It does. We had one, in Winston not too long ago that was probably probably about the highest repairs that I have seen. And, he chose not to and chose to terminate. But that was one that I was like, if we didn't do this inspection, you wouldn't have found it because I thought there might have been something funky around the foundation, but, I'm not a foundation guy either. So the inspection really came in clutch as far as, getting him out of a bad situation because he wouldn't have had the money, to fix. So, all right. So we went over, your repaired, side. That's a whole nother company. What is the name of that company again?
Dunwell Structural Repair.
Dunwell Structural. Okay.
So we're right on the corner, kind of on the corner of English and where it becomes National Highway over there, where Carolina Rental is. We got a warehouse over there.
Got a warehouse over there. Okay. I didn't see that's something I learned.
Got any extra space? I need some storage space over there.
It won't stay very clean, but I mean, if you don't care how clean it is, you can put it in there. It's pretty dirty in there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So
well, it's all mud and everything.
Coming in.
Yeah.
Which part of these two companies is your favorite now? Might have changed.
Well, Parkwood is my baby. I will always love the home inspection company. There's a lot more stress involved. We're done with a lot more moving pieces.
Oh, really?
Well, it's just, you get into like with Parkwood, everybody is pretty much a 1099, like grown man, the youngest guy is probably like 40 something. You know what I mean? It's stressful managing all the management of the people, I guess. Saying this because you can't find old guys that'll crawl in crawl spaces and work for the most part.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, but we've been lucky. We've kept a lot of our guys for 3 or 4 years that are just really good guys. You'll get some in that's like, oh, what's the deal with this guy? But they kind of weed themselves out. The good ones don't let them stick around. So we're thankful for that.
Yeah.
That's good.
No, that's really good. You ever had any problems that you found that could have been a potential fire and then recent as far as
Yeah, I think we had one where somebody had knocked off. They thought they didn't need the exhaust pipe for the water heater, so it was going to kill everybody in the house.
My God!
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. Or just like leaking water, running water, stuff like that. And I did have somebody's oven catch on fire once. Like the heating element just started burning, like caught on fire and started to be on fire. Had to turn it off.
While you were there, so you got blamed for that too, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Well,
you have to check it.
I was like, look, if I turn it on and it breaks, that doesn't mean I broke it. That means you got something broken. Because people do stuff, they'll go hang the blinds,
It's
just
supposed to
the way where
work.
you touch the blinds,
Yeah,
they fall off. It's like, no, man, that's not me. I didn't do that.
It's supposed to work,
Nice
right?
try.
It's supposed to operate like it's
You're
supposed to.
checking a window and the whole pane comes out in your hand. You're like, I didn't do this. Yeah.
That happened once with the garage door. The whole thing started to crunch in on itself.
Yeah.
And they had left like 100 things up next to the garage door. Most home inspectors would have just been like, oh, yeah, you can't use it because of all this stuff. And I was like, no, it wasn't an expensive house. These people need to know. They need to know everything. I don't want them like getting into there's something messed up with this thing. Yeah. And then it just like folds itself in half, like balls itself up at the top. And I called the agent. I was like, look, if I press the button, this is what happens. That means that when they move in, they press the button. That's what happens.
That's what's going to happen. Yeah. You didn't do anything specifically that it broke it. Yeah. That's crazy. I'm sure I knew that you had seen some crazy stuff because we've seen crazy stuff. And we're not even, inside of the houses like you guys are. It is difficult, as a realtor on my end. I try to train these guys and talk to them enough that they know PEX and they know galvanized pipes and, they know these different things. But it is difficult to get somebody under contract and then find a bunch of stuff, after their due diligence money and after. But I still think 100%. I don't think we've made it mandatory, but it's pretty crazy to buy a house without an inspection.
It's not smart.
You guys do termite as well.
We do.
And y'all do water quality.
Mm-hmm. Septic, everything. Everything under the sun. We don't do surveys, but, because we don't have surveyors on, we can get you one.
Maybe somebody in the future you can start that on the side. You got enough room over there in the warehouse. All right, so what do you see mostly? Just home inspections, or people getting termite inspection as well? Or?
Yeah, a lot of the different things require termite inspections, as you guys know. But most people want that. We're going to see stuff, but we're whatever we see it's not going to mean anything if we call it out. We want the termite inspection. And, you know, a lot of the lenders like the VA, they require it. So they do that. But a lot of people don't do septic enough. That's something I tell people, well, you're supposed to get it pumped every 3 years or at least checked out. You know, and they're just like, think it's just some magical hole where they pump everything in the backyard and never have to worry about it. It's like, that's not how things work. You're like, what do you think happened? Like, things will just disappear. Like, it'll float, some of it'll float away, but you will get plugged
You're
up.
going to get a problem.
Yeah. Be out there, kids out there playing in a mud puddle and it hadn't rained for 3 days. And you're like, yeah, you got a problem. Maybe you should have maintained that a little bit better.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've seen that actually.
Oh, yeah. We were at one where the tank lid just collapsed because sometimes they get corroded from all the gas and stuff, and it just cracked in half and fell in the tank.
Yeah, it does. It eats the concrete away. I see that a lot on old septic tanks.
Yeah.
And counties are much more strict now on repairs and what they permit. So it's good to have it looked at, make sure it's in good shape. Because if you do have to do a repair, sometimes it can be very costly.
Yeah. Well, if you're out in Guilford County, a lot of them have off-site septic where, you know, the tank's there, but their leach field's somewhere else, and they got to do all this stuff. So if they mess it up, may not be anywhere for it to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty crazy stuff on tank lids and this and that, and you know it's got to be fixed for lending purposes. But you know, obviously the buyer doesn't want to buy a $300,000 house with, you know, a lid caved in. You know, that their kid can fall in the septic tank. That's pretty bad.
Well, like you said, people getting them without inspections. There's a lot of that where people that like educated people spending a lot of money and they're like, well, I feel like because I'm smart and I know how to look at things.
I can look at it. Yeah.
And then they move in the house and they've got like $5,000 issues that they could have probably just negotiated. And it's like, oh, but you felt like you were really smart. I mean, like I've had a car since I was 16, you know, so that's a long time. You know, but like if I'm going to buy a used car, I take it up to my buddy. I'm
That's
like,
a
hey,
good
come
analogy.
take a look at this because like I know about cars, but I don't know about that much about cars.
Yeah. You might even be like me and you drive the same car. You know, sometimes it's like I keep cars, but that don't mean I'm going to rebuild the motor. You know, I'm not doing that, you know.
Right. And you know if it's old, it's the potential for issues is there. More than likely it's going to have issues. It's the same thing with a house.
Oh, yeah.
Or anything.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. I think, you know, what's your usual cost? I know it's by square footage. They can go on your website or call in the office and they can tell. But
I think it's somewhere around $300 to $400 and then on up from there.
yeah,
you know.
So let's say your average, you know, for my stuff lately, it's probably been $525-ish. Let's just say. So $525, you know, somebody paying $525 to get an inspection, and then you find, like you just said, you can negotiate some. So let's say you find a $5,000 problem.
Yeah.
So now they're $525 in, and you find a $5,000 problem, and then they get with us, and this is how it works in case a buyer don't know. They get with us, and we write a due diligence request, and we say, hey, you know, Parkwood found this problem, and we want this and this fixed or the money. And usually, what do you think, Stratton? I'm not saying every time we get things done, but
most of the time
something.
sellers are willing to do something. They're in the deal. But you know what? Even if they say no, the buyer has an informed decision. They can say, hey, we know that this is an issue. We can continue to buy it, or we can, you know, we can back away and go find something else. And if it's a big enough issue, sometimes it makes sense to walk away.
Right.
We don't ever want to see that. I mean, we don't want a deal to fall apart, but sometimes they do. And, you know, if that's in the best interest of the client, then that's in the best interest of the client. So it's just about making informed decisions and, you know, giving some peace of mind too.
Yeah.
So I think that's
always
important.
I think it's an education that I'm trying to, you know, all of this that we've created is trying to give an education. But I think a lot of the new buyers probably, I don't know, 7 out of 10 never bought a house before, probably didn't pay attention when their parents bought a house maybe. And they don't realize that, oh, if, you know, Parkwood finds something, that doesn't mean that the whole deal's done and, you know, we're going to pull out and, you know, do a termination. That means that we're going to go back and, you know, go to bat for you, so to speak, and try to get a repair or money. You know, that's definitely possible and definitely done in the past, you know, multiple times. I can't promise you every transaction, but that's definitely what we all work for.
You know, during COVID, we had a lot of people not getting inspections. We had people that, you know, weren't doing repairs, but outside of that, I'd say most of them are willing to do something, especially if it's a legitimate issue.
Yeah.
You know.
Speaking of COVID, what'd you see in your business at COVID during 21-ish?
So it started out, we didn't really understand what it was. And I remember making Facebook videos where I had some Clorox wipes. And I'm like, look, I'm wiping down the handle when I go in and out of the house. We're being good about COVID. And then it's like, it just all blows up. Nobody knows what's going on. and it shut everything down for maybe a week or two.
Yep.
And then it was the best year and a half we've ever had. I mean,
we've
it
ever
just
had.
exploded.
Yeah.
It's the best week or two I ever had. There was no traffic on the road. I could go as fast as I wanted. You know, nobody in line anywhere. If you were an essential business, nobody was there.
Yeah,
So,
nobody.
yeah.
I remember the craziest was probably that same week that was everything was shut down, and we had, it seems like it was maybe showing time or the board coming down on us like, oh, make sure that you're using, you make sure you've got a mask, before you show. And I'm thinking,
Go in a house with nobody in there and you have to put a mask.
yeah, like I was doing videos, okay, for buyers that were scared of it, and they were catching me on their camera without a mask and thinking, and calling me about it. I'm like, this is the craziest thing.
This
that I've
realtor's
ever.
going to kill our whole family. Because he's not wearing a
Yeah,
mask.
you brought in COVID. I'm sure you brought in COVID, and it's just like, and hey, for those that it was a serious thing. People, obviously some lost their lives on it, but it did get a little ridiculous as far as walking into houses and stuff for sure.
Yeah.
But
It was great for the real estate market.
Yeah, it was.
It was great for the real estate.
Everything doubled in value. And if you had used cars you're trying to get rid of, whew.
Yeah. Boats. I mean, anything.
I mean, really, I think everything pretty much at least went up 50%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now on the seller side, I will say that on the seller side, I don't want an owner that's got their house on the market and they see Parkwood, scheduling through showing time. Oh, I got a Parkwood inspector coming. They're actually, take it from us, they're actually pretty experienced in this. They're not going to, they're not going to kill the deal. But what would you tell a seller, an owner that you're, let's just say you're scheduling one next week? What would you tell them that, be prepared? We're going to do this and this. What would you tell them?
Yeah, I would say a big thing is make sure that your attic is accessible, your electrical panels is accessible. Anything you would want to know about in a house is accessible. Because you'll get that a lot where they're there, well, I didn't know somebody'd have to go in the attic. Well, if you're buying a house after you move out of here, do you want them to look in the attic or are you cool if they just don't look? It's
Right.
like, yeah, they're really trying to cover something up. It's like, okay, man, we're going to find it. So just be honest, be upfront, be clean. If you have firearms, don't leave them out because you have little kids running around and you see a guy's got a handgun on. It's like, maybe no kids are in your family, but these people are showing up to look at the house with kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the cleaner and the nicer it is and everything's accessible, it'll go smooth. Don't be at the inspection. That's one of the worst things they can do. It's like, oh, I didn't think I had to leave. Like, well, do you want the people standing here while you're looking around your new house? Because 9 times out of 10, the people are coming to look at the house with us. Yeah.
They want to feel comfortable, and I think that's one thing. So you're basically telling people not to. I've seen this. It's been a long, long time. They actually moved furniture. You probably hadn't. Hopefully, you hadn't had this. They moved furniture over the electrical panel. Like there was furniture over here when I showed it, and then all of a sudden it's like, why is it on this wall? It's like, oh, they don't want the panel to be opened, and there were problems in it. So hopefully you don't see that much where the seller's making it harder for you. Sure, lock crawl spaces and
yeah. So if you go in a house from the 60s or 70s and nothing's been touched or painted or remodeled or everything, and you go in the basement and they've painted the floor and painted the walls, it's like, we know what's going on here. Big old caulk line going right down that failed basement wall. I mean, one guy took a Tahoe and backed it up so close to the wall. I don't know how he didn't hit the wall because it's one of those track houses where the water heater's back in a little cove and you couldn't get to it. So I had to get down on the ground and look and see that the water heater's obviously leaking all over the place. You know what I mean? It's like, why would no one parks that close to the wall.
Yeah.
So they're actually, I've seen people where they're trying to cover up stuff. Hopefully you don't see it every week. Hopefully not.
No, it's not that often, but it's you can tell what people are doing.
Good to say. Most of our sellers are pretty good. I mean, they don't want to stick somebody with a known problem, but a lot of times, I mean, they just don't know there's a problem.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
phones
that's
work,
it,
but we haven't used them in 5 years, and they actually don't work.
And they actually don't work.
Yeah. Or, I mean, like you said, nobody goes in crawl space. I don't know how long it takes a termite to build a tube and get to the wood, but if they don't have it looked at, it's very possible. So
that's absolutely true.
Yeah, my property that did get eaten by termites, I don't know either, but it was by the time that I had it bought. So in other words, I've seen that before too. So termites definitely. I've got a kind of a must have on my end just for people that use me as a realtor for termite bare minimum. Like if they say I don't have the money for inspections, like, oh, you're getting a termite inspection bare minimum, like.
Yeah.
And it's like what? I don't know, $80.
Yeah, something like that. And we take payment at closing, so you can roll it into the cost of the house. You know, I
Right.
tell people like, oh, you don't have enough money for a home inspection, then you really don't have enough money for a house.
Probably don't need to be buying. Yeah.
Yeah. And they do. They're just like, but it's like the guys, well, I know about this. You know, well, I did that with my uncle. All the contractors, like every man I meet above the age of 23 is a contractor. And it's like, oh, yeah, because me and the guys from church worked on this house one day. And it's like, no, you're not a contractor. You did something one time.
Yeah.
You've held a hammer in your hands, and now you tell everybody you're a contractor.
Yeah, he put a little bit of sheetrock up behind his contractor. What's the worst family member that comes to an inspector?
Ooh, well, it would definitely be dad's, right? So it's definitely dads of daughters a lot of the time, which, you know, they're trying to be protective a lot of the time. And it's good if they're like knowledgeable and they know what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But when they get in there and start talking about stuff and they're way out of their lane, because you don't want to like make them look bad, right? That's our whole thing. We don't want to make it look like anybody doesn't know what they're talking about. But when they say something to you and they ask you to agree with it, it's like,
I ain't agreeing.
I mean, no, man, like that's kind of a big deal, or that's not a big deal, or, you know, that they're worried about the wrong stuff. But yeah, that's what we run into a lot of. I remember we had one of the guys out there and there was a water heater that it's similar to what we were talking about earlier. And one of the inspectors out there with him, and it was a fire hazard and a safety hazard. Somebody's going to die from the carbon monoxide. And the dad was so mad, and he's like, "That's not a problem," because he had been he was within the selling side. He had been part of the fix for it. And he's like, "Well, I've been an electrician for 30 years," and he's like, "Okay, well, how long have you been a plumber?" And the guy just got so angry. I mean, he just lost it. You know, and it's like, but look, you're going to kill somebody because you think you know something that you know. And I bet you he wasn't a licensed electrician either. He'd probably been putting in outlets for 30 years.
Probably not. That's pretty important. I mean, the exhaust of one of those, I mean, it has to run, especially when somebody's home taking showers and stuff. It's got to run at least 2 hours a day. I mean, bare minimum. So it's putting out, right? I mean,
it's the equivalent of just like closing the door of the garage when letting the car run. I mean, it's the exact same thing. Like, it's going to kill you.
gosh. Well, Stratton, you got anything else for Brantley here? And we'll get him on to doing more inspections today.
But put me back to work already. It's hot outside.
It is hot. It is hot.
No, I don't guess. I mean, we appreciate the relationship, and I know if anybody's looking at this, we'll love to help you and get you in touch with Brantley or reach out to him directly. So
yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. This is what it's for. Just kind of giving a little bit of education, and so buyers, especially our buyers here at Hepler Realty, are not afraid to get their home inspected. Definitely give him a shout, give the company a shout, and we will call this one done for today. We appreciate you, Brantley, coming in. Thank you so much, and you guys have a great rest of the day.
All right, you too.